as we get in-game and see if Astralis can push their way forward to face off against Oxygen in the semifinals. We're getting started with the bans right now. So let's see what Astralis want to knock out. They've got the first choice here.
Oh, again, yes, Astralis are going to ban Yana. I am loving that we are getting these creative bans here on main stage. I'm so sick and tired of all the same things happening all the time for Rainbow Six. Stop banning Thatcher. Just get used to playing it again, man. Maverick will get banned away. Love to see that. Get the Yana out of here. No more clones to try and assist with clearing. No more Maverick with his unstoppable torch as well as his frag grenades. Kaid's going to follow suit as well just to make sure they don't have to bring Thatcher. Obviously, the last time XSET was the one who exploited that a little bit on their end, but it just didn't work out up against Astralis, and now they're feeling as though on their offensive side, they just really don't want to try and attempt to fit that op in. The last ban, though, will be Valkyrie, making so very much sense when it comes to Skyscraper.
Yep, was going to pretty much predict that would be the way we would go, so no surprise there that we ended up with Valkyrie being banned out yet again, as she has been banned out, I think, in both the previous maps too, so just wanting to knock her out of play. I know at least one of them for sure, so definitely a common choice there and not surprising in any fashion. We'll go to the expected initial site here for Astralis, as they will have the defensive start to this one upstairs in the 2 rooms across the hall from each other. It's going to be karaoke and tea room to get ourselves started.
Yes, indeed, and just so you guys know, defensive ban-wise, Mira and Kaid are actually the 2 highest banned ops here at this LAN at a 47% ban rate. Valkyrie at a 37% ban rate.
We're back to normal, basically,
yes,
is what you're saying.
Indeed, but then we go to the offensive side, and like, I don't have to say anything yet, but just look at those bars, John.
Yeah.
Do you want to make a guess as to who's the highest ban on offense? It's Thatcher, everybody knows that, and he's been banned 57% of the time, the most banned op in the entirety of Rainbow Six in this event.
I'm actually somewhat surprised we haven't seen teams drift towards Finka bans a little bit more here. It's one of those situations where...
Only 12%.
Yeah,
she's picked 74% of the time.
She's kind of become like Smoke in a way, where like, she's such a quintessential operator now that like, yeah, you could ban her, but you're going to handicap yourself so hard by doing so.
That's true.
That you just don't really want to do it under most circumstances.
So my question is, when does Ubisoft give her the Ash treatment? Just take her away. Just like go, you know, put her in a straitjacket in the back room and just be like, all right, you're not allowed to do this.
You see this big drum magazine you have? We're sawing it in half.
Yeah, actually, like straight up just getting rid of the entirety of the thing. Like just go use a spear or something. But past that, we're actually into the map now, folks. Enough having some fun. It's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. Our very first site is going to be Tea Room, as we are about 30 seconds in here on the prep phase, or rather the action phase. Forrest is going to be staring off into a window as J90 will add some more penetration through these walls and give them some new lines of sight.
Yep, just taking a staging ground to control here for J90, making sure that he's going to have good capability to fight off against the members of this team. As you can see, Astralis have extended out more so horizontally than vertically, but still to a pretty decent degree. See them maintaining Iconic, specifically office control, just next to Samurai here, getting ready for the next push to come in from XSET. And they're very much aware of that positioning, even getting the ping going onto the pre-placed Nitro. That will be shot out through the soft breach. We didn't even talk about the fact that Iconic actually brought Bandit into play, so we can continue to maintain this interior office control and block out any opening that XSET would have liked to make with their ace.
This is the one spot that we've been seeing a lot of Bandit tricking happening recently, but since it's Skyscraper, we don't get to see it all that often, but we've seen it here twice today, and 2 kills, speaking of 2s, for XSET, as he'll gun down J90 and Iconic to start us off.
Spirits, a bit of a fall from grace in the previous map. They're not finding nearly the impact that we saw from Border, so if he's going to be coming back in with entries like that, Astralis might have something to fear here, as everything goes quiet. However, after that kill was picked up, XSET taking the initial control, and Astralis, for the most part, backing away, closer to Dragon and Drum, as they get themselves a bit into more safer pastures, a bit closer to their site.
Trying to play around Shrine as well as Drum is Astralis right now. Shuttle finally able to consistently fire back here. He'll take down Spirits. And inside of the 3 versus 4, they choose to fall back. Play the site setup instead. Given that there's 1 more minute remaining, a DP Fire is in a pretty solid position with Warden. This might bode well for them. Plenty of stuns still to worry about, but Kino has some firepower instead as he'll take down Shuttle. Astralis, they're starting to fall apart at the seams in this round, but they're not out of it just yet.
Yeah, Astralis wanting to play into a mobile playstyle here, but it's almost led them into the position they are now. So many players have to constantly exchange positions. That'll be a nice push from Forrest to take down Yago. Yaga, but because they're being flushed into the open so often, it's just XSET members finding them for easy pickings, it seems. I say that, but now the tides have finally turned. Kino's gone down. Diaz moves in, though, to change up his own team's fate. Just has to isolate out that last member of Astralis now because of the advantage they've built up throughout this round. But at the same time, the round is nearly over. 15 seconds remain to play this out, and DP Fire is more than ready for that initial push from Diaz. Spots as well as he moves himself over towards Karaoke. The potential play from Gomez. He has to go in, just blinds himself as he moves forward, has no capability to spot out DP Fire. So this is an easy clutch for him. Looks right forward, a shot from the sidearm, and our defenders will pick up the opening round.
Those last-second kills, the plays from the Warden, able to lock it down. No info for XSET when it came down to their actual site execution, even though it was a low man count. You still have to go about it, and that means you eventually have to get on that site, right? Well, fortunately not for XSET. As they try and move in, they're consistently shut out by Astralis, and eventually the timer's just too punishing for the offense. Astralis will pick up that round in a 3v5 situation.
So to sum it up, the clear is good, but the speed with which it was cleared, unfortunately, a little too slow. XSET just not able to drone out or gather the appropriate amount of intel as to where the last two members of Astralis were playing from, and as such, brute force their way forward, walking far too many of their own members into the Astralis setup, giving them the clutch at the end of the day. Gonna be quite a few repicks as well. We'll move over towards a new site to play into now. Astralis will just shift over to the other side of the map now that they've obviously already locked away our first hold on the second floor. And even more interesting here too, we're going to see one of these walls will be left soft so that they can actually fire back against the attempts from XSET to open it, but they'll keep a laser gate on top of it so XSET don't get too bold and try to rush forward. With that said though, XSET is gonna bring some change-ups into the fold, and the most notable one will be Diaz once again bringing the Ying to bear here.
Well, last time we saw this Ying, it didn't work out too well, so hopefully this time is a change of fate. Astralis, though, they haven't brought Bandit this time around to hold things down on the south wall of the offices, so we'll see how they want to try and attempt this. And in fact, it's a completely different setup. A little hard to see from the Overwatch cam, but a little bit easier to see once we actually get our observers' eyes on it. There's actually two soft panels that have been punched out with two laser gates on it and a mirror window staring directly into this side. So past that, though, got some action going on over here inside of Karaoke with its own mirror setup and quite a few different angles to worry about. Astralis, more specifically DP Fire, will take out one of the LMGs.
Good start again to things for Astralis, this time not falling victim to the opening gambit from XSET in order to get themselves into the building here. That'll cause even more hesitation from the XSET side of things. However, I say that, Shuttle moment has quite a bit of pressure bearing down against him just in terms of soft pings, but still not actionable, it seems, by the members of XSET here as they try to isolate out one of our defenders, but unsuccessfully are going to do so. Just intel gathering, it seems to be, for our attackers right now as they continue to clear things down and look for a safe option to move forward into this building. Yaga will actually take some heat here too. Only a bullet or two befalling him, more than likely coming from Forest, as these players try to get across the divide, and that time successfully accomplishing it, as I'm sure you noticed.
Yes, indeed. And with half the round now gone, XSET, they have to find an answer. Initially, it'll be exploding this Goyo canister, those hot pockets that Emmy was talking about earlier. And yes, indeed, they do pack spice, Emmy. Let me tell you, all that flame will maintain for a little while longer here and force XSET outside of the building for a little while longer as well. A minute and 10 seconds now as XSET still vying for position around this outside balcony. Some drones coming in, and a dead Forest will make it a little bit easier as Yaga slinks in, but Iconic immediately answers.
Great timing from Iconic, and now we just have to constantly watch his backside even better.
Oh,
he's going to be able to see that it would have been clear. Shuttle with the perfect setup to catch Diaz when he re-peeks around the corner. Spirit's trying to get a nade on top of Shuttle's position, but it's going to be too far away by such a small margin too, and even worse, the Goyo canister stopping him from reascending the stairs and stopping the challenge against his teammate. Kino now goes down because of that, and Spirits will be left alone. He doesn't even realize he's been pressured out, and a Nitro nearly ends this round a bit prematurely, but Spirits wants to back up from this, wants to give his leadership the extra time here in order to play out, and more importantly, talk about what's just going on in this round. So I'll try to waste a bit more time before this comes to an eventual close in the favor of Astralis.
Give some time for the XSET members to calm down and collect themselves. Ooh. A shot onto Shuttle, though, and a clean one at that. Still has some time to be alive, but not very long. J9O will be the end of him. His half-life seemingly about 3 seconds there. So now, as Astralis climb higher skies here, Looks like they'll be able to clean up 2 rounds back-to-back. XSET not having an answer just yet, but they still have a tack timeout in their back pocket for whenever they want to utilize it. But big rounds like that where one team blows past the other, we usually see a little time utilized for that anyways.
They popping off, trying to amp up the crowd here too as Astralis. This is one of the most promising starts to the map we've seen out of them yet here. A 2-0 run, outright denial on both of XSET's executes. The second round even more dominant than the first. Things are looking even better for them here. So I would certainly guess that XSET are getting fairly close to a tactical pause if things do not go their way, or if they're not at least able to get a close round here on the third site from Astralis and Barbecue before they rotate back upstairs into Tea Room for their first retry.
So far, so clean for Astralis. I think that's the thing that surprised me the most. XSET initially able to punish some of their setup, but when it came down to the actual site, that's where Astralis got one over on XSET. Now, the opportunity here to take it a step further. Some castle barricades from DP Fire will lock up a lot of these different doors, especially some quite important ones around the Tea Room that give you easy access, and XSET will no longer be allowed to just swing in there willy-nilly unless they want to dedicate some utility to this, but they also have Yaga on Sledge, so it's a fairly straightforward affair.
So for Astralis, already with the 2-0 lead, looking to still maintain their exterior pressure from the site and extend that lead over onto 3. We'll have at least one member holding on to control Geisha just above the kitchen itself, but the rest of XSET looks to be clearing things out from the stair side, moving themselves from their front door. Also going to be an option for these players, as they know there will be some additional pressure on the second floor to be dealt with before they can even think about moving downstairs into the restaurant and try and take care of this site. Oh, and the timing from Diaz Iconic. He's more than likely going to hear that Claymore going down on the outside and is able to take the fire out because of that.
The exact words you just said is why you never put that Claymore there. As soon as you step up to try and put the Claymore on the other side, 9 times out of 10, somebody catches that audio and they shoot you through that window. It's happened to me a million times, even on old Skyscraper, so extremely unfortunate for Diaz as he gets taken down, and now Iconic can do even more in this situation. He's going to apply a goo mine as well, so now Kino, he's practically locked out, and they gave up Diaz for just setting down a Claymore.
DP Fire gets a second kill going for Astralis. Iconic wants a third, but he's going to have second thoughts about it. And personally, I would say that's a pretty smart move here. You're already up 5v3. You don't need to risk that and potentially throw yourself down to a 4v3 because Kino is trained to heck on that angle, or at least he was. So more than likely, in my opinion, would have led to the death of Iconic, and I think he realizes that too with the few bullets he takes trying to peek out there.
Don't know exactly what happened to Yaga as he went down through other means, but now XSET, they've finally been able to find one. They'll down DP Fire, but Iconic finds one of his own. The LMG of Spirits finally rings true as he'll find his second kill. Astralis, though, still maintaining man advantage going into the late round now. Still have quite a few traps around to deal with. Iconic's been able to stay alive as well, so the Goon Mines get more and more prominent by the second. XSET have top control, but they eventually have to drop down and take either kitchen or barbecue. Forrest playing in quite the pivotal position as well from this location. Astralis has people around every single corner. XSET have to be worried about this. Need to really get some info game going here. They have 3 drones active at the current moment that they can utilize, and one of them being used by Spirits to try and see exactly where these Astralis members are.
XSET have come to a screeching halt all of a sudden. They're trying to just roll their way forward onto the site. Gomez actually might have an opportunity to do so here. He's going to work forward. Gomez trying to correct now as he's been found out. There's far too much to deal with. He's been completely surrounded here. Spirits left alone, but he's at least got the first kill going. A 1v3 turned to a 1v2, and a winnable one at that here without separated. The remaining 2 members of Astralis are going to be here. Has to go for the hops. We'll give that Q over. Desperately hunting for a head here as he goes for the cross, but never is he even going to see them. J9-0 shuts it down, and it's yet another round for Astralis. And since this has gone this way, man, I got to bring up the point. XSET was the one who chose to go to this map. If I remember correctly, they had a decision between this and Villa, and they decided to go to this map, one that they have barely played inside of officials without their coach.
With the current rounds in mind that we have seen, I'm just going to come out and say it as well. It really feels as though XSET is completely out of their depth. even inside of the initial round that they had, where they had a very good chance of taking it, Astralis still outplayed them on a lower man count. They're constantly getting caught off guard by these angles that they don't even know exist. They're so tunnel visioned on trying to get these certain, things that they've been able to discover throughout the round that they're not worried about what these other members of Astralis are doing, and they're getting severely punished by it time and time again. They're going to call the tack timeout now since Astralis is rang up 3, but the big issue with that is, obviously, XSET, they get some time to talk. They're down their coach, but also guess what? Astralis has time too, and they have call out.
Yep, they're going to have him, and he can provide feedback on everything that may have gone a little awry inside of these first 3 rounds. Quite a few of them were quite close at the end of the day. But still, Astralis able to shut down all 3 of them consecutively. The retries begin now as we're going to move back upstairs into T-Room. And already, we've got a very interesting repick coming in for Kino. Initially selecting in towards the ace, now going to swap out towards a Monte. And this is a huge break in the playstyle from XSET, to say the least.
I mean, this is a huge break in the playstyle of Kino. The last person I ever thought I'd see playing Monty would be Kino, but yet here we are. When it comes down to Siege, you really do have the option to bring everything in the kitchen sink. There's so many different operators on the offense, have myriad of different weapons. Just so happens to be that Monty happens to be a very large guy with a huge shield that's very difficult to deal with in a lot of different ways. He's constant pressure, and that's a great thing about him. Past that, you always have to keep him in the back of your mind, because the moment you look away from him, somebody like Anakin from Cyclops will shoot you in the side of your head, and you really don't want that one to break down through those means. But past that, Yaga will also bring the Ying to flourish.
So it is looking like XSET coming back into this one are going to try to focus pretty heavily on the execute here, especially with Yaga's operator selection.
Oh, I thought we were going to have the door punch here from Shuttle and the swing from Iconic. That's one beautiful thing about Aruni, is she's able to get rid of these doors unbelievably quickly, and you can catch so many. Oh, they're going to go for it off the swing. They're going to go for it off the swing. If we see some people go for the balcony up top, we could see some really drastic stuff happen here in a couple of moments.
XSET, though, playing it patiently, still focusing on their first floor clear here. They want to make sure that they have positioning down below by the barbecue stairs to really pinch out against this 2-player setup from Astralis before they're willing to commit to anything. But Astralis, man, they want the fight. You can see a 3rd player potentially flirting with a hop out or at least a window peek here. So XSET have to be oh so careful with every move they make. And Kino going to be the first one to step up towards it, meaning that Iconic won't really be able to commit himself to this aggressive play, and his teammate probably just filled him in on that, so Iconic's going to be feeling a little awkward about his current position, knowing there's a Monte on the other side of that door now.
Yeah, absolutely, and the big thing is Shuttle wasn't around that area anymore either, so it made it a little bit more complex for him. But now DP Fire, he's getting it on both ends. Somebody on the bottom of the stairwell, somebody up top. Yaga will get one, some free fires here from DP Fire, but nothing lands. Gomez now has control of the stairwell, trying to get rid of this barbed wire. Also has the shotgun, or rather the frag grenade of Sledge out, and he'll toss it up towards the ceiling. Not able to do too much. A little bit damage off onto DP Fire, but they've been able to stave off elimination for him as well as Shuttle. Some Candelas out, but the smokes are holding down the stairwell. This push looks like it's not coming together for XSET at the current moment. Something has to give.
At the moment, though, Astralis is only holding it back primarily with utility, whether the smart glasses negating out the Candelas or the toxic babes stemming the tides for Montaigne and some of these other players looking to push their way in. That will run out sooner rather than later, and here we go. It seems like that time is now. Spirits has access to be able to push himself forward through the T-room and take out the players on the other side of the breach, but still, DP Fire has recharged the glasses. He'll be able to get one more before he goes down. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily enough, though. Gomez and Yaga picking up the exchange and a +1 Forest, trying to hide in a pixel. It'll work. He'll get one more for him, but he misses. Spirit still hiding in the corner just by the entryway. J9O has been left alone in a 1v3. One of those 3 is Montaigne, and what a flick to take out the first, but still can't contend with Yaga on the rappel, who is haunting them all throughout that round. Even the Warden play could not fend that back off, and so our attackers finally get onto the board here with the first round on number 4.
XSET played that extremely well given the circumstances. So much utility tossed at Black Stairs, and Astralis constantly hucking it. But for XSET, they back off. They let them get all of their anger out. Yes, please throw all of this at our Monty and see what happens. Well, you guys all saw it firsthand. XSET established the cross and take control of Karaoke, making it so difficult for Astralis to try and cross what little hallway there is, but it seems like a mile. As soon as they run out, they are bodied time and time again.
And so another rotation for Astralis, as they're not actually going to stick around inside of those same sites. As we've seen throughout the course of this series, they've never really been one to try that. Even when the rounds are relatively close, they want to move forward, they want to focus on other things. We've got more repicks coming back in here. Initially a Nook shown for Yaga, but he's actually going to bring it towards a Dokkaebi, who was initially picked by Diaz, but wants to bring the Ying in because, hey, it worked well enough as a distraction more than anything. And even though we do have the Warden still being played by Iconic, as long as they can contain him, more importantly, knock him out inside of the early engagements here, those Candelas will still have massive use on the execute for DS and the rest of XSET.
She just has crazy strong utility across the board. You have the smokes, Candelas, as well as an 81 drum mag on the T95. What else could you possibly want on one character? Well, you could possibly have some glasses that look through flashes. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And that's why Warden is in play here for Iconic. They more than likely know XSET are going to stick to their guns after what we had just saw, so more than likely a good idea to keep him around for the time being, and well, he's still got really solid utility across the board for him as well. Astralis will finally start knowing at least the beginnings of what XSET's setup is looking like as a single panel breaks down at the top of house stairs.
So with XSET starting to make progress, the first breaches have been made to allow them to move forward. Gomez will continue to investigate things by the bars as well, to continue to look for options in terms of roaming Astralis players that might be susceptible to being taken down. DP Fire would be certainly one of those, so we can see him kind of exposed on a little island by himself right now, but still, XSET would have to not only find him, but lock him down, and instead, it's going to be Iconic. We talked about how they wanted to take the Warden down early, and they're going to be gifted him, as they walk right up and find him, still moving positions.
Yeah, I mean, Iconic's not even anywhere near sight.
No idea what he was doing.
He's gunned down all the way downstairs. DP Fire will get one, but Spirit's answers now. Yaga off the board. That's going to be all the dope calls out and gone. And now a lot of damage dealt by the XSET members to Astralis, but Shuttle doesn't matter what the HP bar is. He's still willing to take the challenge.
DP Fire are going to have to potentially contend with that issue as well. As we can see, he's so low right now. One stray bullet will end his engagement here on the 5th round, but still wants to position himself properly to be able to fend off the swing that more than likely is going to be coming in from XSET pretty soon. As we can see, Gomez moving his way down through Dragon, has support from his teammate, but misses the play from DP Fire. Hiding in plain sight on the top of these stairs, he catches Gomez instead, and has now made up the difference for his health deficit there. If he goes down, it's still relatively winnable by his two other teammates here, but if he can continue to waste time or waste players away from the XSET roster, that'll be even better.
And this is the issue with Astralis picking off Yaga first. You don't have these dope calls anymore to give you information. Instead, they now have to try and swing into this. Some stuns out. It will get an Astralis member, but nobody's pushing forward. Low HP on quite a few of these members. We're going to have Nitro stuff from underneath from Forest. Some crosses covered by the other two weaker players as well. DP Fire trying to find a body across up top, but they don't know that Forest is worried about the verticality. It's all left down to Kino as the Candela goes out. He'll gun down Forest, but I don't believe he knows where the last member is. DP Fire skippering off. He'll re-challenge. Shuttle taking some very serious damage. This AK-12 can totally get it done, but look at the HP bars on all of these players. It's a 1v1. Kino, can you do it? It's down to the plant here. He has to try and stick it. 8 seconds remain. DP Fire, he climbs up the stairwell. Can he get Kino off of it? He reads it incorrectly, but more than likely knows exactly where these members are. He heard this plant go down. I believe he saw just the barrel there, but he finds him. DP Fire shuts it down. It's 4-1 for Astralis.
DP Fire with the big clutch, plenty of excess time. We're even going to be so cautious he creeps back up for the counter defuse just to make sure there was nothing else there. There was no claymores to be worried about. No 1v0 this time around. Astralis pick up yet another round, retake their advantage, and continue to lead at 4-1.
This is all I have to say about Astralis at this moment. That free right there, those are some nasty boys, man. That is disgusting what they were able to produce right there. Both players go downstairs, the nitro cell goes off, but then for XSET, they don't even consider that somebody could be downstairs staring up through the verticality, and they're punished yet again. Some of this unorthodox play is catching them extremely off guard, and it's gotta be very frustrating, especially after the last round they just gathered. But now, Astralis have a chance to put this to a 5-1 deficit for the offensive squad.
Specifically for Kino right there in that situation, he's had a little bit of a hit or miss game so far here. And despite the fact that his role kind of allows for him to have those types of games, he's still that clutch player they look to inside side of these 1vx's to come out on top of them and to come just so close, literally one bullet away from clutching it, and to get the plant down, only to lose it there. That's gotta hurt, but they can't be thinking too much about that. They're falling further and further behind with Astralis now only 3 rounds from their semifinal spot being locked in. They need to focus up and get themselves into the site. And the good news is we are going to be returning upstairs into the tea room here, where XSET has already found a winning strategy a few rounds back. They're going to redeploy exactly towards that with their repicks now.
We're getting real serious now, John. If you want to know what Ward was doing in that bathroom, he proned to check the drone hole to make sure that there was no drone in it. That's the kind of stuff we do in Rainbow Six. You want to see some sweat? I will camp your drone holes and make sure that you don't get any information. Truly incredible stuff here from Astralis, recognizing out early on where the potential info game from XSET could be coming from. But past that, we're about 20 seconds in, and they are centralizing themselves around this northeast end. Remember, the site a little while farther into the actual map here, but you know, a centralized effort, that's really what Rainbow Six Siege is about when it comes to team play.
Already going to see bullets going all across the map here. Iconic's position will be revealed by a drone passing into the meeting room. Still not going to be able to flush him out entirely, but as you guys probably noticed, not a whole lot of reinforcements onto the walls surrounding him, so he's got to constantly keep the eyes in the back of his head open here to make sure that he does not get flanked out. Unfortunately, that's going to be fairly distracting, so won't be able to focus too heavily on denying the initial pressure from XSET. They'll be allowed in here, and you can see some of the members of Astralis already flirting with potentially falling back towards the site, those that extended out from Dragon and other parts of the map.
XSET have made their foothold, but how far do they get with it? They're choosing potentially the longest route in order to get to the site. Astralis has a very strong chance of delaying some yellow pings out now, and Spirits with the potential to grasp a hold of one. DP Fire constantly applying pressure to the door here. That'll make it very difficult for everyone to try and get inside of even the Dragon statue room. He's going to continue to hold on to this top floor, challenging back and forth. Still has an ADS here as well, as I believe we're about to get an answer to this situation right after we see XSET start stepping up. But as soon as I say that, they're going to double back and start looking to the drum side instead.
Gomez pre-firing as he works his way through. Still ends up on the losing end of the trade, though. So much more damage coming back onto him. They do have a hot ping onto at least one member from Astralis, but they're just playing with him. He's going to hop back over the top here, get himself on top of the roof unit, just to fend these players off. He knows he's been revealed, but he doesn't care too much about it here, and the drone will finally be denied out by DP Fire. He'll even drop back down and potentially try to line up towards a flank a little bit later on here. So much time being wasted away from XSET, and only just now are we starting to see the Toxic Babes flood out also here. One additional one was used besides the one you guys saw, which means Forest has one remaining one in the pocket. XSET cannot afford to stem the tides anymore. They've got to push their way through. They're going to attempt to go for the long swing past drum into Geisha to get themselves out on site, and that's a strong move from Gomez. It secured their first kill against Forest here with only 30 seconds left, though. They've got to move so quickly, and Astralis, are they ready for it? That becomes our next question here as XSET gets within just a hair's reach of the site. Shuttle fends off the first attempt to work their way in. J9O with the wrap gets number 2. They're continuing to falter. Diaz the only exchange from this so far, but with his second, that might have been enough. Gomez goes down, so now Diaz sits alone in the 1v2. No case control either. He's got to retrieve that. Has access to karaoke, but there is no time left. He's got to stick it, and Astralis are waiting right around the corner to deny him. They'll wrap their way back up here into karaoke, shut him down, and lock down another round from Astralis at the end of the half.
XSET are going right for the middle of the map, but there's really no potential to build from that area. When you get a hold of things like Temple and like Drum, you only have 2 doors in that very central wall. Drum, they have nowhere to go. That's the problem. They keep trying to take control of that and then move downstairs or like deal with the bottom setup or move in through Geisha and all that stuff. But the issue is that it takes them up until like 1 minute and 15 seconds to actually get to that point. And then it's all decided to how these rounds actually break down with, you know, the utility as well as the gunfire back and forth between these two. And time again, Astralis end up on top of the heap, especially as they're able to maintain control downstairs. It's so difficult for this XSET team to really get anything going. It's going to be a 5-1 half in favor of Astralis. If they start off strong here, they can end this very quickly.
You said it best, I think, when we were in the pause. XSET might have made a fatal mistake by selecting to go to this map over Villa, potentially putting them out of their depth. Without the assistance from Bodega, things do not seem to be clicking for XSET right now on this very new map, for them at least, in terms of their capability to play it here in official matches. Meanwhile, for Astralis, they seem more than ready for the challenge here, as we saw inside of their group stage. And they're looking to truly lock it in. A few repicks coming out, including the very same one that XSET was utilizing. Forest now going to bring the Montaigne to bear, and he's not the only shield, quote-unquote, operator we're going to get here, as DP Fire also will bring the Osa out.
Yeah, you see the Italian handwork in John, and that's because we have an Osa out here, and that's because it's spicy. We didn't get to see that from XSET. This is the kind of character that you want on a map like Skyscraper. We have some solid window player, some long hallways you have to deal with. She's so strong in those positions when she can actually get set up, and that's why they brought her. Force is going to be able to challenge a lot of things, get free info, yes, but if they set things up with DP Fire, with that PDW, there's so many ways that they can just decimate XSET as they try to challenge him. He's just got more bullets.
So with XSET starting to fend off the aggression from Astralis, we will see the first bits of openings made by our attacking roster. Obviously going to be quite some time here, as we saw in the previous map. Astralis plays a little bit of a less direct game when it comes to their executes, building up a slow broil of potential entry points, and as we saw in at least a few instances back on Oregon, kind of booming it all in at once in those final 50 seconds or so in the round, depending on the circumstance here. So you're going to see that once again. Astralis taking their time with things, really utilizing their drone intels. We can see they've got quite a few of those out right now. DP Fire will try to sneak himself in from the balcony door into this double site. Obviously that motion attack are going to pop off like crazy, so they will be aware of his presence, but still going to be able to move forward and take that out quickly, as the shield placement will not be interrupted.
The real question is, what is the job of Spirits in this location? A beautiful nitro cell. That's what you want to see hand-delivered from XSET. They'll take down DP Fire. That position, a little bit too close to the sun, as that nitro cell just flies out of T and destroys him. Minute 15 now is Astralis starting to feel some similar heat. Forrest will pick up Gomez, though, as he's down by another one of his teammates.
Diaz tries to re-swing to take out the Montaigne, but will be a little bit too late on that. Adrenal Surge also will make up for the lost HP on Forrest due to him eating at least one charge from the Toxic Babe. Shuttle as well, looking to sneak forward here, very close to the site, but Diaz has just struck gold again. And one more time on top of that, he's up to a triple for this round, fending off the large majority of this balcony push. Astralis only have the assistance from Shuttle now, on top of the position that was maintained from Forrest on the Montaigne earlier, coming in from the balcony. No one else from XSET has even gone down just yet, so they have a great chance of shutting this one down quite easily and bringing this scoreline back under control. The alarm will sound. They know that Shuttle will have regrouped with his teammate now, and this is going to be a bit of a rough effort from Astralis to try and get this done, as indeed Iago will find the cross against Shuttle. That leaves Forrest all on his lonesome here, and it's time to back up. It's time to talk a bit, as there's nothing else that can be done on this round. They're going to walk right out, send the nitro towards him, and it'll land too, taking him down. Spirits gets the final kill of the round, and XSET get a second overall.
Yeah, no timeout allowed. All right, we're just going to take that away from you, too. The big thing there was XSET denying Osa. You could see that a lot of Astralis' game plan centralized around DP Fire, and as soon as that nitro cell goes off, they really have no idea what to do. They're discombobulated. They're trying to find an answer, and time again, XSET are able to punish them. But specifically, Diaz Lucas, as he is just taking down every single member that steps in his way. A triple kill for him on that round, and hopefully a lot more where that came from. Ladies and gentlemen, XSET is currently down 3 rounds. Can you guys give them some assistance? I feel like we lost some of the XSET crowd. I don't know what happened to them. They go to the bathroom, go got dinner. I don't know. But as for Astralis, though, still ahead by 3 and hoping to get their first offensive round here in round 8.
We're going to see a few switch-ups here. They will also fall into the same tendencies that we were getting out of XSET in the previous half here. The Ying will come out for our attackers on Astralis. Most notably, it'll be a switch away from a Twitch to accomplish it. J90 will bring an additional hard breach operator in, and we're actually going to get the Thatcher. If my memory is working correct today, I believe that is the first time we have seen either team pick into it in this match.
Wrong.
No? Okay.
Shuttle had it last round, actually.
Oh, did he?
Yes,
okay,
he did indeed.
I just missed the detail there then, so my
How
bad.
dare you? In a game that has so many things and has stuff flying and walls being destroyed, you forgot a single detail? Fired. I'm sorry, John, I can't talk to you any longer. Either way, though, 5-2, round 8, as we were just saying. XSET, though, going to have Yaga onto the Warden this time around. DS finding quite a bit of success with the last time that he played Mira, so feeling quite comfortable on this. This is basically going to be a completely backward setup from what we saw the last time. We saw XSET still extend themselves into kind of that mid-hallway where you have, you know, Shrine as well as Drum and stuff like that. But this time, obviously, it's not going to be tier. It's going to be exhibition. So, make things a little bit easier for XSET in some certain senses, but past that, might have to fight hard for the balcony control later on, though. Even though Astralis, as of right now, not really going for it. Really trying to mess with Terrace at the current time and see what they can get done with this space.
Good amount of drone clearance coming in from Astralis, as you guys were seeing them rocket that forward here. We can see Gomez still waiting on the interior of the site as a bunch of soft pings going to come out for Astralis to indicate as to where these XSET players are positioned at. DP Fire will take a massive amount of damage from one of the members of XSET here. Able to get away from it, thankfully, though, so keeps himself in the fight for a little bit longer. While at the same time here, we're seeing Spirits trying to contend against the opening of the wall here. That's been done by Forrest. He'll follow this up with 2 flashbangs as well. The Candelas will also flood in for one of XSET. That's in the path of those going to be blind here. Won't be able to fight back. So they'll have to give up those positions. However, they won't last forever. Spirits, he's ready to fight up, or seemingly was ready to fight against Forrest, but no! He gets the double on the Hibana, instead opens it wide open towards Drum, and Astralis will take down both Yaga and Spirits to get them the 5v3 advantage.
Who needs an entry when you have a hard breacher willing to do the dirty deeds? Forrest swings 2, Forrest swings 3! A triple kill for him. He's trying to get them to match point as fast as humanly possible. Kino, though, has some work to say about that. He'll take down Shuttle, quickly traded out by J90. It's all down to DS. Got a triple in the last round. He's going to need a quad for this one.
Diaz inside of a 1v4 still has control over the site, so it's not done just yet, but they already seem to have a good lock as to where he's positioned at here. J90 flicks right on him, takes a few shots to lock him in, but there you go. Another round on the board here for Astralis. They are rocketing forward. That's already 50% of the rounds they need just in that single one to move on to face off against Oxygen tomorrow afternoon.
I'm just waiting for some of the XSET fans to just be like, yeah, I was rooting for Astralis the whole time. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, you know, to the stars, baby. Iconic, go.
We're all just fans of good games.
That's true, that's true. And the big thing is, we're all fans of North America. We're just looking for some amazing success here. And honestly, I said this right after you and I pulled this game. Man, I feel really bad for putting them against each other. Like, I really wish that we would have pulled anything else, but, you know, circumstances are circumstances. And speaking of those, XSET currently down 4 rounds to Astralis on the offensive side, who are looking dastardly strong.
They need to run all 4 of these consecutively. Now, their odds are not completely in the dumps at this point here. If they can correct from their mistakes in the previous round, that's one site locked away. Better yet, after this round is finished, they will unlock T-Room for play, and they already controlled that earlier on in the half. That's a potential second right there. But moving on from that point, that's where things are going to get a little dangerous from XSET. A 6-4 is certainly plausible, but where they go from that point is up to them.
5 seconds to insertion.
Oh, the slow burn now. Moments away from getting into potentially our last round. It's going to be a Mira setup across the map yet again. This is more than likely going to start to be one of Mira's premier maps when it comes down to it. We see more and more people play it. You can see the amount of pitch points, and the amount of crosses that you have to deal with when it comes to a lot of these setups that both of these teams are producing for their defensive end. Astralis just seemingly better at dealing with them at the current moment. But for XSET, if a couple things go their way, they can definitely pick up around just some very unfortunate circumstances that we've seen them in time and time again, whether it be Spirit swinging wide and getting gunned down by Forrest, or Forrest swinging even wider and picking up another that's all the way down on the other end of the building. These are just things you don't really think about at the beginning of the round.
A bomb has been located.
Astralis already having cleared out a good amount of the T-Room and karaoke area. They will not find any resistance from XSET in that department on the map. Begin to open things up in the nearby area too. They'll start to pop open this wall from J90. That will actually flush out a member of XSET for the looks of things also, because they'll be pushed a little bit further away towards Dragon.
Yeah, using the Selma charge to mask the audio of him swinging in. Those Selmas are incredibly loud. guys have more than likely seen quite a few people use those, whether it even be inside of a clutch situation, just slap it on something random and let it start going off because, again, it's extremely loud. It makes it to where you can actually move around unsuspected by a lot of the defensive members. Quite a few different instances. But past that, though, nothing really coming to play just yet for either one of these squads. XSET trying to build up around their defensive standpoints around the mid part of the building. We do have a singular Astralis member over here for a time, and actually one more being added in the wings. It's going to be Shuttle trying to work his way into Geisha as the Candelas go out. Kino will get marked up, and Gomez takes down J90 on the entry.
Good start into this round for XSET. DP Fire's gonna move himself forward here as well. Very strange noise on that gun. This has actually got a silencer on it, believe it or not. As we continue to see Astralis, though, they pick up the first exchange, but Spirits comes rocketing out to trade it. Now Spirits trying to maintain the control, but Forrest again going huge here. However, he just lost a very important teammate. Iconic has gone down, but Forrest, the accuracy, second to none right now. Another headshot to knock out Kino, and he gets one more to rocket his team into the semifinals. It's Astralis that will move on and eliminate XSET from the tournament.
Forrest, a player that when he was originally in Pro League really wasn't worth anything at all, immediately gets relegated. He comes back to play for Astralis, and he plays like that. A Bearing 9 is what ends it, and a quad for Forrest. That's 7 kills in 2 rounds for Astralis to take out XSET on Skyscraper.
It's the reverse sweep from Astralis as they start off with dropping the first map.